This is the Conversation Project's Things You Might Not Have Heard, and I am Jay Clifton Payne, your host for this about 20-minute jaunt through the news, 8 news stories that you thought was picked out today by calling them conversational. You followed us on the feeds, you gave your engagement stories. Basically, you thumbs up and thumbs down them or emoji them as you wanted to. And we picked 8 of the stories of the past 30 hours that hopefully are the best ones to talk about. You let us know in comments and, of course, by emailing us at the conversation inbox at gmail.com. Now, Conversation Project, this thing here is your home for headline news, information, and pop culture references that are worth chatting about. We have good ones right now here. In fact, we had to toss up about 4 different Donald Trump related stories and just get 2 that are directly him. I think we have the right ones because one is a bit lost in the shuffle with the new plan for refugees. We're going to let in less refugees, but the ones that are coming in will be spectacular. So says Donald Trump. We also have a story we already talked about in a hot take early yesterday about Zach Bryan and his new song on Ice, which has given me a whole lot of love because you're giving me a whole lot of love. Appreciate that going forward. But this is the recap of that because it got in after the roar here. And of course, LeBron James has a new decision. LeBron James doing the I'm taking my talents. Now, where are those talents going in this term? Is the old man giving it up? We'll talk about that in just a moment. And yes, you'll be just as underwhelmed and disappointed as we were too. But 8 stories total. Those are just 3 headlines we have going for you. So stick around for all the great love we have here. I want to remind you that our headlines are brought to you by sponsors. You can see more sponsors and more partnership opportunities to help us keep things going here at our website. This is a conversationproject.com. Spotlight sponsor for today is Ground News. We've been hyping them up for quite some time. We'll start mixing it up a little bit, but Ground News have been proud to be with us. We're proud to be with them, helping get better news and more informed news. We'll talk more about them in the moment. They're a Spotlight sponsor. We get a small commission back when you subscribe to their service via Ground News. Now, let's get into time, get into what's going on. Today happens to be the 8th of October, 2025. 8 stories, starting with this one, which is the story that obviously is not going away anytime soon. Government shutdown. Yes, government shutdown, and Hakeem Jeffries and Mike Johnson will not have a primetime boxing match anywhere soon. That's not happening. But we do know that it's causing some issues because people aren't showing up for work because they're basically not getting paid and they're doing what they can to sort of quiet quit and quiet protests. And with that, already short air traffic control is becoming an issue. Control tower folks aren't showing up for work. There's delays in across the nation at airports because the government runs the air traffic control and many other aspects inside of travel in the air. Bad things happening. Government shutdown is tangibly disrupting the air travel, with Burbank Control Tower essentially unstaffed for about 6 hours yesterday. No one in the tower at all, forcing remote handling and pilots self-coordinating on the ground. Not the best way to handle your planes coming in. The aviation desk at CNN plus some ABC affiliates also reported that nationwide shutdowns across various spots, with FAA juggling sick calls and thin staffing at towns and approaching centers to get the actual planes in and out of the air, off and on the ground. This is already stacking up from Denver to Newark and, of course, Phoenix and big time hubs like Atlanta, Chicago, and Dallas and Boston. Controllers are working without pay, or assuming not paid. Back pay should be coming, although we have a story about that maybe not coming. We had to pull that out the docket to talk about air traffic control, talk about Donald Trump not wanting to pay people back pay. So look that one up on your own. But we're seeing lots of delays as flights are being flagged and issues are coming up there, and people being stranded for hours at a time, if not having flights canceled because of missed opportunities, that being connections back and forth. Industry groups and former officials say that the shutdown compounds existing controller shortfall and stalls modernization. You can't keep working to fix things if nobody's getting paid to put it in there. Yes, we have an aging system for our air traffic control, need to fix it, but this does not help at all. Travelers need to expect longer taxi times on the airways, being sitting in those planes much longer, and delays in boarding and onboarding and getting where you are, because air traffic control, one of the issues that is very much government funded, government ran, and government shut down right now. So, as I said, we didn't talk about Trump's plan to not pay back pay to many folks, essentially Democrats. You have any sort of inkling that Donald Trump is a man of the people and takes care of all Americans, You should have figured it out by now. The multiple outlets are talking about this report, where they're going to basically have a record low refugee ceiling, only letting in 7,500 people total for the fiscal year 2026. And they're going to try to overshoot that, overweigh it, make it a bit heavy on white South African Afrikaners because the blacks are killing them over there, except they're not. But let's go into the actual story details first, please. Proposal allows for earlier trial balloons. That was a cap of around 40,000 at one point, but basically Trump wants to basically shut it down to about 7,500. 700 people will only come to this nation as refugees for the full year next year. We're getting an extra 7,000 people to the millions going forward. Will that help us? Not really. Just a couple folks coming in there. Will they be highly skilled and trained? Probably not, because it's a very small sampling of folks. And if you're going to weigh it all down, probably pick those out there. And why are we focused on the Afrikaners? Because Trump sees them as a persecuted minority. The South Africans actually dispute this claim. But some people want a free trip to the United States and free shot at citizenship. So some people will say they're persecuted to get here. Some people will say anything they need to get someplace they want to be. That's another clue right there. Bottom line for this is the refugee cap is not so much a bad thing, but the lower number, the so low number, and the fact that they're focusing on people who aren't actually in danger is the deal. If America is your shiny beacon on the hill where people will succumb for better lives, people needing better lives should be coming here, not just people with pretty good lives who want something a bit better. There'll be lawsuits, there'll be fights of the hill. When they go back to work, they'll figure out how to make this thing more diplomatic or less diplomatic. But Donald Trump wants less refugees, and all the ones he wants are white people from South Africa. If that doesn't tell you something, you're not paying attention. Tesla is trying to get itself back on its right footing. It had a kind of an odd day in the market yesterday, though. They lost a bunch of market cap, even after they unveiled two cheaper models of two EVs and want to regain some market share in the challenging year they're having now. Two lower price models, so for Model Y and Model 3 variants, they're now under $38,000 at list price and trimming some features and range actions so they won't go quite as far on charges to hopefully reignite demand for the cars. A cheaper car might make it the value added part for your luxury driving or your electric driving, either way you want to call it. It's electric drive electric because of what it is, but we're looking at taking out second row screens and some premium features and about 10% drop bias on the base price because it helps out. More people driving the Teslas, more people driving electric cars, more people driving the brand should be better for the brand. Now, investors didn't quite get it. They didn't understand it. Didn't make sense. And the stock actually fell after they revealed it. Also, some concerns about the margin pressure and aligning lineups of other cars. If you sell the car for less money, don't you make less money? Yeah, well, we scale back on some of the pieces, but don't you still make less money? That way, the markets and the investors were kind of scratching their heads. I don't know about this. Go with that one. Of course, EV tax credit rollback and other issues with competition from some other strong competitors right now are reshaping the pricing playbook for Tesla to make sure that they need to stay relevant. For your EV beat of cars, the cheaper Teslas will test whether the price over features can actually defend their shares in the next upcoming year. Is it the fact that they cost so much to be so elegant, make them less elegant and make them cost less? Will more people drive them as the standard of electric cars as opposed to other brands out there? Pope Leo is starting to do some fixing of his own. When a new person comes in to change regime change comes, and he is now fixing some of Pope Francis's controversial financial decisions. So if you didn't like your Pope Francis because he spent too much money, Leo's here to fix it. He repealed a 2022 rule centralizing Vatican asset management in the IOR, restoring latitude to curial departments. The move signals a rethink of Francis' era financial consolidation and raises fresh questions about the oversight versus the flexibility of the Vatican and the money for the big Catholic churches. Supporters see course corrections, while critics worry that the renewed fragmentation across Vatican finances will come back. Having fractured systems before, everybody covers their own books as opposed to a centralized version, is where the concern is. Do we have more transparency and more control, or will the friars in their own parishes start to spend money like drunken friars? pun intended. Follow the money, which is where things work out, but follow the decrees for clarifying the procurement, audits, and internal managers for what's going on there. Life should get a little easier and simpler for a less centralized type of financing. Decentralized is the actual word used there. But for the storyline that is finances and Leo, he is prioritizing making sure things are done decentralized, making sure that people have more control on their own stuff as opposed to him having the purses under his control. Four more stories on the way. As we promised, 8 stories every single weekday morning to, or 10 on Monday, but 8 the rest of the week to get you into the groove of stories that people could really talk about. And the next one coming up is one I put up there as sort of um, a throwaway, sort of, if you will. It popped up as a small story as I watched CNN. I'm the only person watching, apparently. And it had some little hits here or there as people talked about it in deeper pieces. But you guys loved the way I had it presented or got in conversation going both ways. So I'm glad for that one. We'll talk about that in a moment. But right now, how do we get to something like that? I need more people involved so that more people can get involved. It's pretty simple. Like the videos you watch that we produce here, and more people can get a chance to see them, the algorithm will share them with more folks. It is kind of how it's working. You like it, the algorithm shares it, whether it's on YouTube, which is where we get our big sort of pushes. We are monetized there. Facebook and X, where we share our feeds that are the links to stories every 50 minutes to help us pick the stories to talk about. This video comes live there, plus other videos as we post them there. You also, if you like it, I know I did good. You like the Zach Bryan story. We'll talk about it in a moment. So I know it was a good pick out of nowhere. So we'll do more like those until they start to fade, and then we'll pull up other things. Now, if you like what I'm doing and you know people who might like it as well, it's like-minded folks, just share it directly with them. If you share it with them, hopefully they're engaged. Hopefully they'll watch. Hopefully they'll share and do the things as well. If you're not getting stuff from me, like this video here, if it came to you via a like, the algorithm just sort of popped it up here as suggested, or a share. Somebody said, hey, this guy is pretty good. Or sometimes say, hey, this guy is an idiot. Let's watch him and laugh at him. I get paid anytime you do it, regardless. And I cry happy tears, of course. Um, Subscribe. The subscription level on the YouTube has been amazing. We hit a milestone of 2,500 viewers about a week ago, and in less than a week's time, we may actually hit another 100 stories, 100 followers, viewers, likes, subscribers because of stories like this one and you guys sharing with other folks. So I appreciate all the love you're giving me, especially there. So keep on giving love if it's worthy. If it's not, let me know. Email me at the conversation inbox, gmail.com, and we can try to right the ship. I don't want to shift the gears right now and have screens pop out because I have this multiple screen thing in front of me. When I change things, things disappear, things pop up. So I'm not going to pull up the actual numbers right now. But if I look to my right, I can take a look and see. So far, a very non not normal 8,500 views for the Zach Bryan story that we did. That is not 24 hours old as a hot take. The headline that we're talking about here, so just in case you missed it, Zach Bryan calls out ICE in a bold new country song called The Fading of the Red, White, and Blue. Now, Zach Bryan is previewing a track on the gram and his social media about ICE raids and policing. And the clip on Instagram has lit up fan forums and morning shows across the nation. Broadcast recaps emphasize the political edge of it, departure from Bryan's typical narrative focus. He has stated he don't talk politics. He's a good old country boy and just wants to play music, have fun, and have his fans enjoy stuff. This is a take that he is stepping into and taking to the plate pretty quick. That fastball went right down the middle, and he smacked it out the park, whether you love it or hate it. The uploads and re-uploads to this actual clip on YouTube and Reddit and various places, and spread lyrics like "Ice gonna come bust you down your door," which pretty much is blunt and open, is what it is: blunt and open. DHS officials have lobbied for the social jabs back at him, basically saying and it's a cultural war oxygen, and he's just making it work for Zach Bryan, just make the whole thing worse. The song's virality is setting up a robust streaming debut if it actually drops as an official song, because it's just clips of something he's working through that are out there. This is either a man really stepping up to his ideals or a man who knows him some marketing. I am reading the comments that you guys are giving this one. Many people are like, you know what, the whole go woke, go broke, and he's going to lose a fan. Many people are like, I didn't know who this dude was, and now I do, and now I'm a fan. And some folks are like, I knew who he was, I'm not going to listen, but hey, free speech, we got it. Let's do this thing going forward. This has been a very, very good exercise for all of y'all in being conversational and being cordial going back and forth. Because normally these things get really ugly really fast in the comments. Not a lot of sniping directly at people, and a lot of people talking about the actual issue, which is the song, the lyrics, and the overtones that the ICE raids are going on right now. I thank you all for being cordial. Keep it up, and we'll see if this one helps us get an extra boost in some revenue so I can stop asking you for less stuff. But I will keep asking you to watch, review, like, share, and subscribe so I can get more organic stuff as opposed to begging you for buying stuff directly, which I will do in a moment anyway. He's taken his talents to Hennessy. The second decision, which came out as a big announcement over all media, is spiking all sorts of backlash and just why are we wasting our time here? It was basically thought of a retirement idea, but because essentially LeBron James had practice with a couple hours, Hennessy actually broke the news a little earlier with the announcement that Hennessy VSOP partnership is now with LeBron James. His company, his people, his folks are now working to take his talents to help promote the Hennessy brand. So there you go. He likes his liquor, and this year he's getting paid or making money off of a little bit of Hennessy, baby, just like the ladies' man is. Him and the ladies' man drinking Hennessy and doing what they do. The spot is, of course, ripping off the 2010 special that he did about taking his talents to Miami when he was leaving Cleveland. The big decision, big old deal, and the fact that was able to make some money for Boys and Girls Club, which is great, and then got ribbed for years for doing that one. Of course, he won a bunch of championships, so and essentially, who cares? The brand pages rolled out the limited edition bottles and all sorts of collateral pieces. Ad industry sites are logging in the creative and doing what they can to sell some extra Hennessy because LeBron James is drinking it. Now, it's like anybody else because he teased it. Now people are popping up that, and they said it was just a kind of corny little ad. But guess what? People are going to buy it. People are going to pay attention, and what you're going to look for in the future are copycats, and it will be stuff from the line of Instagram parodies. I'm taking my talents to Heinz ketchup, things like that, to actual people trying to make actual money with actual sales because they can do that. It's now in the pitch playbook, and it's something that, for good or for not, exists. It's there, and whether you'll see it again, that's going to happen. How often you see it again, and when will we get tired of it? That's the real question in this market. Jerry Jones is getting fined $250,000 by the NFL for an obscene gesture he made at MetLife Stadium. He claims it was an accident. NFL has hit Jerry with a $250,000 fine over viral clips showing the Cowboys owner appearing to flip the bird during a Jets game, which haven't we all flipped the bird during a Jets game? I mean, he's just one of us, right? So Jones said it was inadvertent and it was supposed to be a thumbs up celebration. It's just sort of the wrong finger on the wrong place, I guess. Dallas can appeal this decision, but $250,000 seems like a lot of money. Jerry Jones has a lot of money. It also seems like a frivolous sort of fine. The problem is owners and people involved with the teams can't actually speak their minds in these things, can't do obviously things that are obscene. Jerry says it was a mistake, inadvertent, and we'll see what happens. In most cases, Jerry will probably, if it was anybody else, they paid and roll along with it. If it was Mark Cuban, he'd throw 3 or 4 more birds up there so he can pay more fines. Big deal is because he's Jerry Jones, we'll see what happens. Precedent is in this right now. Bud Adams in 2009, David Tepper in 2003 for owner conduct, something similar, being fined for basically saying bad things or showing off bad things and their disdain for how things worked out. Now, talk radio and sports desk and Reddit all did what they did. They memed it. They memed the hell out of it. And so you can see Jerry and the finger all over the internet right now. It's not big in money, but it's big in eyeballs because franchise is always in the microscope. And Jerry Jones always wants the attention. He always wants to smoke. But he may fight this one just to get a little extra time on the air because Jerry. Final story for this morning. Rush announces a 2026 reunion tour honoring the legacy of their late drummer, Neil Peart. Now, Rush will reunite in 2026 with a new drummer, that's be Annika Niles, named after several reports. The first tour since Neil Peart's passing in 2020. Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson framed the run as a celebration, not a replacement. Expect tributes threaded throughout the set. Regional outlets and AP pickups are pointing to major arenas in high demand. Pre-sales chatters are already trending. Nothing's up yet because they have to actually book the venues. But Rush, even in this late day and age for many of us, me post 50, but them being very much post 50, is a big deal. The old Dodgers are going to come out of their trying homes and hang out to watch some Rush, and the new guys who fall in love with old rock will have a love for this as well. It revives one of rock's most loyal fan bases, invites the post Pearl generation on board, people who just love some Peart. Some Peart will be there for there and as well, along with people who love the music and want to get enjoy and have a little old timey celebration with old friends. Watch for some archival visuals inside of the concerts because we do that now, and that will anchor production going forward. All hail the great band that is Rush, and get ready for some very jacked up ticket prices and money to be made by many folks on the road. On the road, if you will, is one way we can think about what we do around here. We are on the path of the internet, like many folks, to do what we can to give people okay news, somewhat good news, kind of okay news somewhere in there, because it's news. But our point is not just give you the main headline. So yes, we talk a lot about government shutdown because it is the overarching, most important thing happening at the moment, affecting everyone. But we also go through the margins and look for stories that are interesting, that are side gig stories, if you will, that will bring a lot of attention. The story on Luke Bryan, I keep doing that. On Zach Bryan is one of them. The story about Bernie Sanders working for a committee when they go back to work to help AI not take people's jobs or help people keep the jobs in AI. That's one as well. The Trump coin, which should be getting a whole lot more love, but it probably will once we get the government back going and they actually vote on this thing, is there. So to give you great news stories and know that they are good, we use ground news. Now, here's an example that we have. There were reports out there that Charlie Kirk's former organization, Turning Point USA, was going to do some counter programming to the Super Bowl halftime show with Bad Bunny. That is not true. At least it wasn't true before. They may say, "Oh, maybe we'll do that. It's a good idea." But Trump, Turning Point USA, 40 and Slip, is not doing at the moment a counter programming concert for the Super Bowl to fight back some bad football and Bad Bunny. But we got that information by checking out ground news. We use that to source the actual source of stories and show who's kind of jumping on the wrong bandwagons there. You can use ground news to do that yourself. If you see a story, a headline, some pieces that don't quite seem like make sense, go to ground news, put in the headline inside of this. They'll give you who is covering it and how they're covering it and what the actual point behind it is, i.e., maybe they have a bias that is more fitting for a story to go one way or another and to either mislead, not quite lie, yes, quite lie, to get you to see something the way you want you to see it. In fact, with their Vantage plan, you can actually get a chance to see their blind spot feature, which shows you stories that are being overly played or underly played by specific media bents. If you listen to or watch red type of lead media, whether podcasts or news, you can see what stories they are talking about all over the place because from doing talk radio and doing news radio, you want to go with the things that keep people engaged. And those are the hot red meat button type of stories and stories that are really, really ice cold, stories that they don't want you to see, whether you are a blue or red Republican or a Democrat, conservative or liberal. See what stories that your side wants to feed you more of and what side they want to feed you less of. And for using our affiliate link, this is an affiliate link, we get a small commission for it. This is a conversationproject.com/ground news. This is conversationproject.com/ground news. Guess what you get? You get 10, 20, 30, 40% off their news plans. You can get the Vantage plan with all the perks for less than $10 a month, and the basic plan is less than $1 a month if you use our affiliate link. We get a small commission, you get less off your news coverage, and they get more followers just like we pay them every month so we can use them daily to check on things. Get your news from a better source or maybe from a worse source because you get it from all the sources to see what people are talking about and get the real deal on how stories being covered using Crown News. I want to remind you that our website home is a conversationproject.com. Our email address, conversationinbox@gmail.com. Find us on YouTube at youtube.com/Conversation Project. Also on Facebook, facebook.com/, This is Conversation Project, and on x.com/th conversation. The first one, you can watch all the videos, all the hot takes, all the things we have there. The second two, we produce this video live every morning as well. We also have our feeds where we post links every 50 minutes or so to new stories for you to help us engage in them and tell us what stories are worthy of chatting up. You gave us the green light to talk about the stories that we have here. Hopefully, we picked the best ones. No, we did not talk about Donald Trump doing the not payback stuff. We may get that in tomorrow because I think it's within a 30-hour window of stories, or he'll talk about it again, or he'll do some other crazy things. He'll take up a quarter or to a third to half of the stories we have and the 8 we have tomorrow. We just have to kind of find out over the next day or so of what is engaging and what happens. That's how we do things here. But today has been Wednesday, October the 8th, 2025. And this edition of Things You Might Have Heard is going really long, but we're trying. We got verbose today. So it is what it was. It is what it is. It was what it was. It did what it did. Thank you so much for people who dropped in live and commented going forward. We are working to hopefully secure more funding. You hear me talk about it more. Once that happens, I get a producer. We can put comments on the screens. They can talk in my ear and tell me things to get things a little bit better. Otherwise, I got to press all the buttons. I got to do all the shifting. It gets a bit ugly. But thank you, anybody who watched me live this morning or who's going to watch me on the replays, because replays are very important as well. Tell me where you're watching this from, and it helps me know how to target some new stuff. I may get things that are more in your region because I like you. Meanwhile, love you, all of you. Thank you so much for being news nerds with us. Follow us on our feeds. Check out us at the website. This is conversationprod.com. Consider check out more sponsors and being a partner or joining us in the view section at YouTube. That's a way to join as well. We're done. Today is the 8th. It's going to be a rough day for me, and I'll explain that tomorrow, but we'll talk about that one. But assuming we get through it, Lord willing, creek don't wise, and shutdowns and raptures, we'll be back to give you 8 news stories that you'd help us pick out to chat up, because it's a conversation on tomorrow morning.